everyone, Cassie here with Schwarzkopf Professional. I'm excited to share with you a really cute bobbed layered haircut on my beautiful model Sol. Because Sol has a lot of hair, I'm actually going to divide it into 3 sections to take off the length. To get the maximum control of the hair, I'm just taking it in the same spot, knowing that my bob length is probably going to end right at her top of her shoulders here. So I'm giving myself a little extra wiggle room here to work with. Here are the 3 ponytails. So a few of the strands have fallen out, and that's okay. I'm gonna let them fall because I don't want to cut them. If they're not in the ponytail, they're not meant to be cut. So her length is gonna end up right above her shoulder. So again, I wanna make sure that I have plenty of room to work with if I cut from here. Important note, I'm not pulling the ponytail up or to the side or anything. I'm keeping it exactly where it was so that I don't create unwanted layers or shorter lengths. So the bulk of the hair is off. Are you excited?
Yes.
I am really excited. We're gonna get her to the shampoo bowl, bring her back wet so that we can continue on with the haircut. So to prep Sol today, we used our Hydrate shampoo from Fiber Clinics. This is a great way to get her hair prepped for a haircut. It's going to give her all that nice hydration back to her hair. I then used our Hydrate conditioner, also from Fiber Clinics. Next, as a cutting lotion, I'm actually gonna use the Hydrate Spray Leave-In Conditioner. This is gonna give her hair a nice slip, make the comb go through the hair very easy, so that when I'm cutting her, I don't have any snags or tears. I'm gonna give myself my baseline. Now, sometimes the hair is very wispy down here, so I like to give myself maybe a little bit more than a traditional parting. Also too, I'm putting my baseline in. This is gonna give me my guidance for the rest of the cut. So having some strength in that's really nice. You'll notice that I parted her hair in the direction that I'm going to part, and that just makes parting her hair that much easier as I work through. So my hair is parted now in a soft round following her natural head shape. I'm gonna use 0 tension and 0 elevation for this cut. So I'm gonna cut it directly with just a light comb down, making sure that everything's nice and even. I'm going to go in with my scissors. How much hair I take in my next section is really dependent on how much hair I can drop down while still seeing my baseline. Now that I've reached the top of the occipital bone in my sectioning, I can now use my finger as a guideline without giving elevation from its natural fall. So if I want my hair to stay nice and smooth and very straight and very clean, I need my fingers to really guide the hair in the direction I want it to flow. Every step of the way, I check for balance. Make sure that my hand didn't sway one way or the other, that I wasn't leaning or getting lazy. So I always just want to make sure that I have a nice, even section. It's okay to be wrong. You just have to make sure you fix it as you go along. And it's harder to fix it once it's complete than while you're working. I'm now at another transition point in the head, so I'm going to make a little bit of a change. I've now reached the point where her head is the furthest out, and the comb will lay flat against her head this way. This is also, coincidentally, the place where her hair will start to meet her ear bone. That means that as I transition through, I'm actually now going to start working this entire section to seamlessly incorporate my line from the back to the front. It's important that I remember that I need to see my guide. And sometimes you just need to flip it up and make sure, get a little contrast in there to make sure you can see your guide. If you cannot see your guide, you cannot cut. So now I'm just going to give myself a nice little gauge on what makes the most sense to follow it forward. Now there's a few tricks you can do with a bob. I could have her turn her head and cut a line this way, and that will preserve length as it falls forward. Or I can just use this and follow my guide around the head, and that will give me the cleanest, straightest, sharpest line. I want just a slightest bit of movement forward, just a little bit. But instead of completely coming all the way around or having your head turn, I'm going to use the guide and stop at the corner of the ear. When I feel this little bone right here, I'm going to use this as my guideline. And by that I mean, this will be my guidepost of where I'm going to bring the line to, so that I still maintain some length to the front, but it gives me a bit of a guide that is really conducive to her natural head shape. Bobs we get on like a very solo mission with bobs, where it's like, this is how they're cut. And if we forget that that's on an actual human being. So making sure that we're detailing this to the human being that it's sitting on is really important. So you'll notice that I'm standing right behind that point and I'm not moving. I'm bringing the hair to me and cutting at the spot. Following my guide again until I get to the corner of her ear here where that bone is, stopping. This is my stopping point behind the ear. Now, in my part, as I'm rounding over to the top of the head here, I'm using the wider teeth of my comb just to give myself a little bit more visual of like how the natural fall, the natural lay of the hair is going to be. So as I'm combing through this section here, I'm seeing that I have a little bit of a snag. And so instead of continuing this front section with the wide teeth of my comb, I'm going to use the finer teeth of my comb and comb that just to get out any additional snags. But then I will go back in with my wide teeth just to make sure I'm still maintaining that natural fall. Her length now is complete on this side, and now I'm going to spin her around and work on the other side. Tip: when you're gauging your length to check from one side to the next, make sure that you're checking in the same area. So her hair here is coming from below the recession. That means it's going to be further back also from her hairline. So to check that, I just need to make sure I remove out this hairline area to make sure that it is even and matches on both sides. I'm going to continue cutting this section, just following my guideline until I get to the top, and I'll see you there. Now I'm at my last section. So I'm just again following through. I'm using the wide teeth of my comb again because this is coming from the top and I don't want to overly give it too much tension here. Just combing it back, matching the back. Now that I've completed my cut, I'm basically going to work with her natural head shape because once again, this is living on a real life human being. So I'm going to use her head's natural planes to help guide me in my direction and my angles. The first thing I'm going to do is find out where this kind of natural fall forward begins, and that's the angle that I'm going to take for all the layers. First and foremost though, I need to find out where the layers are going to start. So with that in mind, I kind of want to go just below or just kind of at her chin length here. So I'm going to take a little section here as my guide. I'm going to do some point cutting. Important tip when you're point cutting is to always close your scissors as you move away from your fingers, not as you come into your fingers, so that you don't cut yourself. Now that I have my guide in place, I'm going to lift that section, and again, using her head as my natural guide, lifting that up and straight. So each subsequent section to that, I'm actually going to pull to my prior. And the reason I'm doing that is because if this is my shortest part and this becomes longer as I over direct, this is going to push that hair back. Shorter hairs are going to push longer hairs back. So it's going to give me this beautiful kind of fall off the face. So as I start to reach the recession, I'm over directing once again, and as you can see, I'm running out of hair. And that's a good thing because I don't want to cut into the perimeter of the cut. I've completed this side, and I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. Now we're complete with our cut, and I'm going to go in with just a little bit of light styling. I'm gonna start by prepping her with a little bit of the hair body. I like it because it's a great base for any styling. It has a little bit of mild heat protection, which is great for a blow dry. Then I'm gonna go in with a product that's usually reserved for clients with curly hair, but Bounty Balm is actually kind of this hidden gem that actually is really good for hair texture like hers, just to give it a little bit of volume, a little bit of boost, a nice blow dry cream. I like a nice liberal amount of product with the hair body. So I'm gonna go with about an almond-sized amount of the Bounty Balm, gently applying it through my hands first, and then coming in using my fingers as my distribution initially, right? Just to get the product at the base, and I'm adding a little bit more as I go. Notice I'm coming in with the backs of my hands to not get too much product on the top of her head. The great thing about a cut like this that is really using her head shape and keeping that in mind is that honestly, she literally could walk away and let this air dry because it's going to just fall in its own natural position very easily. But I'm going to do a quick just flat wrap blow dry with a big paddle brush, and I'll be back with the results. And we're back with our final look. Soul, I love it. What do you think?
I love it.
I am so glad. If you loved it too, let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more educational content just like this. And for additional content on any of our products that we use today, please check out our eAcademy online.